Dreadful second half. Dreadful. In that third quarter for the second game in a row, it's like, what the heck happened to the Kings that we saw in the first half? 3-point shooting. I told you I thought that would be a key in the second half. All right, I got to ask you, Ryan. I mentioned this in the first half. Keon Ellis played 22 minutes in the first half. I asked Jerry if he thought that needed to be reduced in the second half. He goes, no, not with a guy like this and, blah, blah, blah. He played 15 out of the 24 minutes in the second half. I don't understand that, Ryan. Help me out here.
Grant, I am as confused as you. He was leading them offensively. Defensively, he was offensively getting them into sets, leading their scoring, shooting very well. He gets 2 shots in the third quarter, and down the stretch, we go to a 2-man game for 3 minutes between Demar Derozan and Zach Lavine. Keon wasn't even on the floor down the stretch, Grant.
I hate to jump all over Doug here because Doug knows a lot more about basketball than I do. It's not even close. Doesn't this fall into the category of common sense? Isn't it like what we all see? I mean, isn't everyone thinking the exact same thing except for the head coach?
I would think so. So, okay, third quarter, Grant, the Kings began retreating defensively. It wasn't the guards retreating. It was the front line retreating. Yeah. Trey Lyles letting Giannis come to him. Keegan letting Giannis come to him. There was not a problem on the perimeter, but as Keon played less, guess who continued to get hot? Gary Trent Jr.
Yes. And I don't want to hear about Keon had 4 fouls. It doesn't matter. You're allowed 6. That's not an issue. I'm not worried about Keon Ellis getting fouled out of the game. And what else happened in the second half? We saw a relatively quiet first half. Jerry complimented Keegan Murray for his defense on Giannis Antetokounmpo. You also mentioned a couple of defensive strategies that they were using. And in the second half, Antetokounmpo was pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, he was Giannis. I mean, it's why they call him the Greek Freak. Some freaky plays around the rim, and he found his teammates. He set his teammates up for success. They figured out the doubles. The ball moved for Milwaukee. The ball did not move for Sacramento. No. Grant.
All right, so now you've dropped 2 games after a very, very promising start. And maybe Cleveland right now is not as good as we thought they were. They haven't won a game on this West Coast trip. I mean, the Suns beat them last night, but they're still good, so I don't want to diminish that.
Right.
You don't have Sabonis. You didn't have Monk tonight. I mean, you can't just ignore that. You got Boston, Oklahoma City, and Portland left on this homestand. I'm still wondering if the Kings are going to win 40 games this year.
Yeah. Well, if we're going to continue to this strategy with the personnel, absolutely. I mean, Grant, what did Zach Lavine have going tonight? He was 7 for 17, 1 for 5 from beyond the arc, yet that's where we're going. Thank you for the super chat.
Yes,
Ishmael,
thank you.
Taking
you know
out,
what?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Taking out Ellis is what is Christie doing?
All right, Ryno, we talk about Zach Lavine, and I mentioned this at halftime. There's a lot of pressure on the organization to make this trade work, okay? And I just wonder if Doug, with his meetings with Monty and Vivek, and if you don't think Vivek's involved in these meetings, you're delusional, has the edict, you're playing Zach Lavine, we need to make this work type of a mantra. Because if Zach Lavine ends up being less than good, which for the most part he has been, he had a couple of good games in a row there, but for the most part, I think he's been disappointing. Would you agree with that?
100%.
Okay. They can't have, Monty McNair can't have Zach Lavine. Vivek Ranadive cannot have Zach Lavine being disappointing. And to make matters worse, they can't make it seem like it's Lavine's fault that the Kings are losing, because that trade is already unpopular based on what the Kings got in return for De'Aaron Fox. And if Lavine doesn't work out, this trade will go down without knowing what the draft picks are. Obviously, the trade will go down as a complete disaster.
It will, but this right now is a complete disaster from this standpoint, Grant. This is the smartest and most knowledgeable basketball fan base in the NBA, hands down. I will take that to my grave.
I don't know if I would say hands down. I wouldn't go that far, but I would say they're very knowledgeable. Yes, hands down. I mean, I'm sorry, I can't go hands down. That to me is not being. I don't think that's fair.
Okay, who is in
Well,
the
I can tell you right now, the Knicks fan base is, in my opinion, at Madison Square Garden, as knowledgeable as any fans I've
Okay.
ever seen. The fans in Chicago are extremely knowledgeable. The fans in Boston are extremely knowledgeable. And there are other markets where I think the fans are extremely knowledgeable. I put the Kings in that category, but I can't say
Okay.
hands down.
All right, fair enough. And you have been around the league. I have not. So I will defer to you on that. The Kings are in that category. You're spitting
Yes.
in your fan base's face. They see the problem. This team was playing great basketball up until halftime.
For two games in a row now.
2 games in a row. And you see what you need, and they're deciding not to do it. So I'm going to go back to your original point. If this is an edict, possibly, maybe that's a conversation that Monty Vivek had. Is that why you jumped 3 seats to put Doug in as the interim head coach?
It's a great point. And you know what? Not to piss off our neighbors to the west, the Warriors are extremely knowledgeable with their team, too. I'm going to put them in that category. But you know what, Ryan? I've talked about this now ad nauseum. The Kings have, on paper, a very good-looking roster. You look at their roster and you're like, wow, right? It's a wow. The pieces don't fit, Ryan. The pieces that Doug Christie is using, the pieces that Mike Brown was using in terms of combinations, they don't fit. They don't work. And I don't know why Doug is so resistant to change. But the one thing I don't want to hear on the postgame show tonight is, we got guys coming in and out of the lineup and this and that. And that. I don't want to hear it anymore. Okay. The Bucks didn't play with Damian Lillard tonight. They didn't have Bobby Portis, who's suspended, right? They're figuring it out. Okay. I mean, why can't the Kings figure it out? Like, I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. I do believe, Sabonis, to me, I'm not going to gloss over. I think that is a very significant loss.
Sure.
But Doug talks about guys, being sick like LaRavia, then coming back. Is he going to say the same thing about Monk tonight when he comes back against Boston? I mean, you can't, enough with the excuses. And I don't want to hear the word unacceptable tonight. This is a very disappointing loss. You had this game in your grasp, and you come out of the locker room in the third quarter and get steamrolled again. You give up what was it, a 3-point game at the end of 3 when you were up double digits at halftime, Ryan?
Yeah.
You get outscored, what was it, 37-28, okay, in the third quarter. And then, Ryan, in the fourth quarter, Ryno, think about this. You scored only 19 points. 19, Ryno.
19 points. And you didn't try to adjust. That's the thing, Grant. You were not scoring the basketball. You were not trying to score it a different way when that was going on. You just kept going to the same well. In fact, Keegan Murray was asked after the game about whether he thought it was the adjustments from the Bucks in the second half. This is a direct quote. I don't think it's the opponent's halftime adjustments. I think it's us. End quote.
So he thinks it's them, meaning us. All right, so I'll ask you. You've been following the game of basketball most of your life. Do you think it's a combination of both, or do you agree with Keegan there?
I think it's a combination of both. I think what you're seeing, though, is some frustration from Keegan Murray there. I think that we saw Jekyll and Hyde tonight. We saw a basketball team that was moving the basketball around, that was initiating its offense, Grant, in the spots that it wanted to, largely because of Keon Ellis. May I put that? He had 6 assists in this game. I know he ended up having 3 turnovers as well, but he was getting to the spots that they wanted to. And in fact, I'm going to just pull up the whiteboard really quick and show you an example of where the Kings offense was starting in the second half now. This is Markelle Fultz bringing up the basketball right here on your left-hand side. He picks up the dribble, and the entry pass is right here to Zach Lavine, which then forces Valanciunas, if we come to this right side picture, to come set the screen way out here, right on the damn Kings logo, Grant.
Which does nothing.
It's nothing. It killed their spacing. How is Zach Lavine going to make this pass to Jake LaRavia? The only realistic pass he has right now is to Markelle Fultz or to make a play. And it's just very hard to understand, Grant.
Yeah.
I can't really wrap my hands around it right now.
We talk about this a lot on losses. 9 of 38 from distance. Okay, 9 of 38 from three. That's 23%. The Bucks Ryno shot 41.9, 42% from three. And we just, we've been talking about this all year. And a guy that you expect to make threes, Zach Lavine, just another awful shooting game from three. Missed 4 or 5. And don't get me started on Keegan Murray. All right. I'm just so tired of his offense. I love him. I don't want to trade him. But I mean, I just need more from him offensively. I'm sorry. I just do. Without Sabonis there, I need more from Keegan Murray offensively. Without Malik Monk, I need more from Murray offensively. I know he's working his ass off on defense. I know it takes a lot of energy, but I need the guy to score more. And I know
what do you want him to do? Do you want him to go rip the ball out of Demar Derozan's hands?
No, here's what I want him to do. I want him to make his open shots. That's what I want him to do.
Fair.
I know you're not going to make all your open shots, but I want him, when he has a good look, to knock him down. There's just too many open looks that the guy's missing, in my opinion. And again, I like the guy. All right. Yep. I like him a lot. Again, your bench tonight is kind of misleading because you have Keon Ellis, who normally is very good off the bench starting. So Trey Lyles, 7 points, shot the ball horribly in this game. 3 of 12, 1 of 7 from distance. I thought he took some bad threes there in the fourth. LaRavia shot the ball fairly well, but not well from three, but, fairly well, 4 of 9 overall. You only got 19 points from your bench. Markelle Fultz is just a waste.
Yeah, he's
just a joke. He can't play. Just get him off the team. And Devin Carter, again, I expect this from Devin. I expect him to look good some nights, and I expect him to look kind of not so good on other nights. And I'm fine with that based on everything that he's gone through this year. And I think this summer is going to do wonders for him.
It's a great point. I completely agree with you. Up until the third quarter, points in the paint were completely even. The third quarter is when Milwaukee beat the Kings points in the paint by 8. You end with the final score 114-108. I mean, it was as simple as that. With all the mistakes we're talking about, missed free throws, Grant, by Zach Lavine, who, and that last play where they said he blew a tire, go to my X page right now. It's posted. He's lollygagging out to the wing. The effort, that's something that's confusing me as well.
Yeah. It leaves you scratching your head, doesn't it? Right?
I'm trying to make sense of it, because if Doug Christie, Grant, says these things are unacceptable, the effort's got to be there, the physicality's got to be there, and you have plays like that are just so obvious to this.
Ryan, it's mystifying. It really is. Hey, I want to tell you about Connor with Element Mortgage. Real estate agents, if you need a lender who works as hard for your clients as you do, Connor is your man. All right. You can trust him. He's got tremendous experience, and give him a call at 916-505-1006 because he'll get deals done. He'll keep you informed at every step in the loan process, and he makes the process easy for your buyers. Again, reach out to him today. You got the QR code right there. You can use that. You can call him at 916-505-1006. Again, tremendous experience this guy has, and you can trust him. And I don't know about you, but when I'm buying a home or selling my home or whatever the case may be, trust is a big, big asset that I need to have from my real estate agent. That's Connor. Get in touch with him, 916-505-1006. Ryan, there's a lot to criticize in this game. And I think we did a lot of criticizing on the postgame show, buddy, after the Bulls game with some of the decisions from interim coach Doug Christie. I don't get it. I did not understand what the hell he did with Valanciunas and Ellis in that game, and I don't understand what he was doing tonight. It made no sense to me. I'm sorry, Ryan. It just doesn't add up to me.
It does not, Grant. Let's bring our viewers in on the conversation. Chad, you are kicking us off tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And I've been a lifelong Kings fan with the Luke and Bill days and everything else. And I look at what we got going on right now with our current owner, and it's head scratching to me. I'm hearing stories about the owner's daughter's boyfriend's making decisions. I mean, what the hell's going on here?
They're not stories. There's a lot of truth to everything that you hear and read, and nothing that I hear as it relates to the owner of the Kings surprises me. I don't even raise my eyebrows when I hear things like this. I'm like, well, that doesn't surprise me.
And then I look at, I remember as a kid seeing pictures of Christie's wife have him on a leash. How do you get guys behind you in the locker room?
Whoa. I'm going to stop you right there. I lived through that era, and there wasn't one player on the Sacramento Kings that had a problem with Jackie Christie. She traveled everywhere. The Kings ended up getting a second bus that we all rode on. The players did not have a problem with that. And I will also tell you this. It may be different than what you're used to or what I'm used to, but I'm going to say this about Doug because I know Doug like he's a family member. Doug is a great family man. I'm not saying his marriage is perfect. I'm not saying he's perfect. What I'm saying is people make fun of him and Jackie for renewing their vows every year. I'm never going to criticize. Wait a minute. I'm never going to criticize a couple that tries very hard to make their marriage work when 50% of the marriages in America fail. I'm not going to get on him for that. And even though it's not anything that I could live with, or maybe you could live with, or maybe Ryan could live with, it doesn't matter. It's not our life. And I will just end this by saying the players in the Sacramento locker room respect Doug a lot. They respect him a lot. And it has absolutely nothing to do with his marriage, or they don't. That is a non-issue in the Kings locker room. So you're going by perception.
Let's talk about the owner, though. I
understand.
Think the owner,
Go
he's
ahead.
promoting this stuff.
Well, he's not promoting anything to do with Doug and Jackie Christie's marriage.
Well, what's the deal with this Lamb guy that I'm hearing?
You know what? Someone just said, why am I bringing it up, Grant? Well, I'm bringing it up because our caller made a point. And when I hear something that I know to be untrue, I'm going to speak up on it. And I'm going to defend somebody. If you want to attack Doug for coaching, go right ahead. I just did. Ryan just did. And you are. I'm not going to criticize him for the way he handles his marriage. Okay? I'm not. That's his wife. Jackie does her thing. Doug, they are, from what I can tell, very happily married, and it might be unorthodox from what we would do, but it doesn't matter. They're happy. Don't bring that into the conversation because it's irrelevant.
Hey, Chad,
it's part of the culture. We need culture in Sacramento. Unless we get that,
that has nothing to do with the culture. Doug Christie's marriage, I'm sorry, has nothing to do with the culture. Why are you laughing? Why are you smiling for? You're wrong. You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yo, Chad.
No. You have lost your time to talk.
So
it just drives me crazy to hear stuff like that.
So this is going to be something to track. Talking about credibility with these players. A guy that I trust very much that's in the media room right now, Brendan Nunez, tweeted out, Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis both mentioned that going away from a set that had been working in quarter three was a critical part of this loss.
Well, there you go.
What's that mean for these players now? And Doug, it seems like he might be losing credibility with some of this core.
I'm going to tell you, I predict the Kings are going to lose their next 3 games on this homestand. I've been wrong before. I've been wrong on the last 3 games. We're 0-9 in the last 3 as a group.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to beat Boston. I think Oklahoma City, unless Oklahoma City rests their players, it's going to be 3 games in 4 nights. It's the second night of a back-to-back. Is it 3 and 4? I know it's a back-to-back. Do they have 1 day off or 2 days off after Boston? I'm
I
sorry.
think it's. Let me check for you really quick. It is a 3 and 4.
Okay, so they're going to get steamrolled by Oklahoma City. Boston is going to have revenge on their minds. You're going to lose those 2 games, in my opinion. And Portland has already shown that they can go toe-to-toe with Sacramento. And then you go on the road, and I don't know if this team's going to win 40 games. They better beat Washington and they better beat Charlotte. That would be 37. And then you better beat Phoenix at the end of the year. Detroit's a toss-up game. Indiana's a toss-up game. I mean, I don't know, Ryan. I don't like what I'm seeing right now, especially without Sabonis.
Grant, this should be a 4-0 homestand right now.
Should be. Yep. Great point. Yes, it should.
I put 2 losses on Doug Christie.
Yep. I don't
2
disagree with that.
losses are on Doug Christie. Maximus 209. Remember when the Kings had their coach in Mike Malone?
Yep. Hey, by the way, the Suns now are only 2 games back in the loss column, as are the Mavericks. And I got to tell you, we're all just automatically assuming that the Mavericks are not going to be there. I don't know if we should just automatically say the Kings are going to be in the play-in. They're 2 games away, 2 losses away from not being in the play-in. Although they do have a tiebreaker over Dallas, so that's very important.
That would be the way this is happening right now, not the injuries, but the way that this has played out over the last 2 games. If this were to continue, that could be one of those moments where this fan base draws a line.
If Keon Ellis gets hurt for any period of time, that probably would be the scenario. He's doing so much for this team right now.
If I'm Keon Ellis, why do I want to stay in Sacramento after my next year of?
Well, there's a lot of things that can change between now and then.
True. Let's go.
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point, because I don't think Sabonis is going to want to stay after what's been going on, and he's under contract. So I mean, but it's just not a good environment right now when you see and hear. And we heard a lot of these things when Mike Brown was coaching, kind of like if you read between the tea leaves, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know what bonuses could be tied to Keon's contract. I'm sure there are, because he was elevated to a full-time roster spot last year. I have to be honest. If I am Keon Ellis, I'm looking above now to why I was not on the court tonight. I'm looking above.
Or the Bulls game.
Or the Bulls game.
I mean, he played 18 minutes. Hey, before we get to more calls, New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They're available 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Go to the number on your screen, sackserviceplumbing.com, or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. They're there when you need them 24/7. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you.
We've got a lot of people online. We have a little bit of a hard out tonight. So get to your point. We'll have a good couple-minute conversation with each of you, and can't wait to speak with you. Still call in. We'll get to as many as we can. Ralph, what's up tonight?
Hey, Grant, Ryno. I'm definitely bullish on the future of this team, but I don't think this is like a hot take or anything. But I don't think when you have DeMar going to his basket, and I know he's won a handful of games for us, I just don't think he makes the team around him better. We watch him just ISO and ISO and ISO. And there's some games like the Mavericks game where he wins it for us. And maybe it's the guys that we're putting around him, like Zach, who just doesn't want to ever cut. And for some reason doesn't know how to shoot the ball with the Kings. But he doesn't make the players around him better. And we have so many guys that also just don't play defense. It's not enough for me for DeMar to get 30 every night. He gives up a lot on defense. He's not that great. So it kind of evens out.
He plays Matador defense.
So then and to your point then, Grant, then why does it really matter what he's scoring then? Because he's giving so much on
Well, it matters,
offense.
but yeah.
Definitely.
I'm with you. It's frustrating. But you knew that before you acquired him. You knew he wasn't a defensive stalwart.
Yeah, and if we've changed coaches, we've changed some of the players, and the constant is ownership, and you're bringing in a guy like Zach Lavine, who was an all-star on also an average team, a playing team before, and the Bulls, then there's something wrong with the players that we're bringing in who aren't doing what we're asking. It's not changing anything. You're just rotating chess pieces that are
Yep.
exactly the same. It doesn't.
Well,
If you, I'm just confused why, like you said, that Zach's not giving the effort that we need. There's a lot of guys, and then there's these weird coaching decisions from Keon being on the bench. It just seems like we've obviously declined
yep.
since 2 years ago, but nothing's
Oh no,
changing.
there's no question about that. And you made some good points. Thank you for your call. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, bro.
Ryan, go ahead with that.
Yeah, Doug Christie at the podium right now. Doug Christie says he wish he had gone back to Keon Ellis down the stretch.
Wishes? Well, he has the ability to do that, right?
I would think so. That's part of the head coach
So
responsibility.
he's saying I made a mistake, and I you know what? I applaud him for coming out and saying I made a mistake. Ryan, real quickly, have you peeked at that Bulls score down in LA?
I have
Oh
not.
my God.
No.
The Bulls with LeBron and with Luka, the Bulls with 1:30 left are leading the Lakers 142-110.
How about that?
142-110 with 1:20 left. With LeBron coming back tonight after his injury and Luka playing, it's the Bulls by 32 points.
Grant, the King's rub is as real can get. There's the jungle karma and the Jim Rome world. This is the King's rub. Phoenix beat you, off to the races. Chicago beat you, go kill the Lakers. People will be lining up to get some of this King's karma. Joe, what's up?
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Grant. How you boys doing?
Great,
What's
Joe.
happening?
Oh, nothing much. Gosh, guys, you guys mentioned it earlier with Doug having to, make some changes. I think you got to put Keon Ellis in the starting lineup. I know people have said it before. We've talked about it. You got to put him in the starting lineup, and
For
he's
who?
going to
Who do you
create.
want? Who does he start for?
Malik Monk. Monk's got to go back to the bench because he was better as a sixth man in my
I agree.
opinion. He's
I think
inconsistent as a starter, and I think Keon Ellis brings better defense. And Keegan Murray, one more thing, guys. Sorry, I'll let you guys respond. But Keegan Murray, I just don't know about a second contract for him if he can't create his own shot, and we don't even have a point
He did
guard.
create his own shot tonight numerous times.
I guess so, but I just don't like the way. I just think he needs to create his shot and be more aggressive on the
I don't
offensive
disagree
end.
with that.
Defensively, he's
I don't
perfect.
disagree with that,
Thank
Joe.
you for the
Thanks,
call.
Joe.
Drive safely. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We are efforting audio from the podium. We'll get that to you as soon as we have it. Dirk, what's up tonight?
Hey, guys. Great first half.
Yeah, for 2 nights in a row or 3 nights in a row. All the halves, even Memphis, that's 4 halves on this homestand. The first halves have been really, really good. And the second half was really good in games 1 and 2 and really bad in games 3 and 4.
Egregious turnovers aside from Zach, I did like how aggressive he was being. I mean, if it's going to work, which it won't, you'll need him to be aggressive like that. Felt like the fourth quarter offense was just prepping for DeMar ISO like the whole time. It was we're passing the ball around just to give it to DeMar for ISO.
They ran pick and roll, Dirk, between Lavine and DeMar. That's all they did.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand the motivation there. I think DeMar ISO maybe works in the last 3 minutes, but at a certain point, especially if it's not working, he did find Trey Lyles open, and I don't know what happened to Trey Lyles there, but he just got, he just started missing everything on those 3-point shots. So, yeah, I've done my research. We know that these two don't work together, DeMar and Zach Lavine. The Bulls fans will happily tell you this. So one of them's got to go in the offseason, and probably going to be DeMar.
Thank you for the call.
Thanks,
Final
Dirk.
in LA, 146-115. How about that?
How about that? The good old King's rub. Good for the Bulls. What do you have the box in front of you? I wonder what Kobe did.
I have the box right here. So 146-115. And in that game, let's see here. Kobe White had 36 points, 12 of 17 floors, 6 of 9 downtown, 6 of 8 from the line, 36 points.
Great line. What about Modest Buzelis?
31, 12 of
Yeah.
18 floor, 5 of 10 distance.
There he is. There he is. He had 2 games in a row with 5 points. And,
LeBron played 31 minutes, had 17 points. Luka played 32 minutes, had 34. Austin Reeves played 34 minutes and had 25. The Lakers bench was pretty much invisible. They did very little. But how about that? 146 to 115. The Bulls shoot 58% from the floor and 46% from downtown.
Great night for them. Really, really solid.
Great night for the Kings fans, too, because they always love when the Lakers get their ass kicked.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yep. Silver lining. I am with, by the way, I think it was Joe that said putting Malik Monk back into the bench and bringing Keon into the starting lineup. I'm there. I was watching really closely tonight about Keon bringing the ball up and where the offense was getting started. Keon can do it. And I think that is the right move. And politically, it seems like that's the only move if you're going to make a change.
Well, but you're running out of time. I mean, I don't know if everyone realizes this. There's only 12 games left. There's 12 games left. And I'm sorry, I don't think the Kings got 5 wins on the schedule. I don't see 5 wins on the schedule. I'm counting Washington as a win and Charlotte as a win, and that's it.
Okay, this is the time the team's supposed to be doing this, right? You're supposed to be coming together. And I feel like this team is starting to go the opposite direction. What's going on tonight? Thanks for giving us a call. I think it's Ralph or Paul. What's up, Paul?
Yeah, I just want to hit back on what Chad said. I think that they lost the locker room. Doug has lost the locker room.
He has not lost the locker room. I know that for a fact. I speak with people still in the organization. That is not accurate.
You look at the way they play. You got loose balls out there, and they're just not diving for him.
Well, they may not be diving for them, but
they were diving balls.
He has not. I'm just telling you right now, he has not lost the locker room. You can criticize him all you want, and I'm fine with that, but he has not lost the locker room.
You look at these lineups, and they've got to change. What's going to change?
But that's not losing the locker room. That might be making bad choices, but that doesn't mean he's lost the locker room. Do you understand the difference?
Do you run the risk of it, though, Grant? You
might run the risk of it, but I can't predict the future. I can only go by what is factual today. And today, he has not lost the locker room.
All right.
I would love to see that little.
Thanks for the call. Again, I'm fine with criticism. I'm not fine with making opinions based on something you have no idea about.
Yeah. Okay. Then this is what I want. I want the logic. What did you see with the lineup that you kept on the court? Why was that lineup preferable to you over a guy that had scored 18 in the first half?
Well,
go ahead.
I want to hear what Doug says. I know, but you said he wishes that he had kept Keon on the floor. I don't know if there was a follow-up question. Well, then why did you take him out?
Right. And so we're trying to effort that.
Like, don't you think, like, if that's Doug's answer, my follow-up question, well, coach, then why did you take him off the floor in the first place? What was it that you were trying to accomplish? That would have been my follow-up question.
I guess and it's a great one, by the way. I guess my only thing that I can logically think about is Doug saying maybe we need to go bigger because you got Lopez hitting threes. You've got Giannis that's getting to the paint, but that still doesn't change the guards on the perimeter. Trent Jr. that's just murdering you, killing you. Brandon, thanks for coming in tonight.
Hey, Grant. Hey, Ryan. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
You good.
Oh, perfect. I just want to chime in. I was at the game with my 13-year-old and 4-year-old, and it was just really frustrating way. And I mean, we've been through this countless times as Kings fans. And I treat your guys' post-game shows as our Kings therapy. That's what I call it.
Thank you.
It helps us get through it over the years. But my one question was, in the third quarter, why do you guys think Doug didn't have Keegan guarding Giannis? I didn't see him guarding him at all. I mean, is there a reason for that, you think?
Ryan?
I got to go back and look, to be honest with you. I think a lot of it was they were getting out Milwaukee in transition a little bit more. And when you're in transition, sometimes there's cross matches and you're anticipating switching back. But I'll hit that tomorrow. I'll do a
Yeah.
podcast on that for
Yeah.
you, Brandon.
Because I mean, he was just killing us. I mean, I know he's MVP, obviously. I mean, he's a great player, but we have to throw our best man at him. Defensively.
And they did a
so.
great job of that in the first half.
Anyways.
They were throwing Laravia, they were
Yeah.
throwing Keegan, they were giving him a bunch of different looks, and that's exactly what you want to do with a guy like that.
Yeah. So I just added that to the previous callers as far as not like you guys were talking about Keon not on the floor in the fourth, and just a lot of questionable coaching calls.
No doubt.
So that's all I got, though.
Hey,
Thanks,
we
drive
appreciate that. Thank you very much. Time for a rant with Grant, brought to you by EDH Motors Automotive Reimagined. David and Adam, just two guys trying to do something different and better. You got all the information right there on your screen, the phone number, the email. If you're looking to sell your vehicle, they will sell it for you. If you're looking to buy a vehicle, no problem. Check out their website, edhmotors.com. And if you don't see what you're looking for, no problem. They will use their decades of automotive experience to get it for you. You'll take delivery at their auto lounge in El Dorado Hills. You don't have to go to a dealership. It's such a great concept. Check them out, edhmotors.com and El Dorado Hills Motors. EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagine. It's unbelievable how this homestand has gone. And we sit here after every game and talk about why did this happen? Why did that happen? And very often, in my experience of covering this team extensively, both as an announcer and on the radio every day for 4 hours, a lot of times, and this is not coming down on you, it's not getting upset at you, but sometimes fans look for excuses to justify their frustration. You don't really keep your eye on what the real issues are. A lot of you do, but then we get fans that call in that make comments such as Doug's lost the locker room or, Doug's wife or whatever. Stick to the facts of what you know. And to me, this is really simple because I've been talking about it since October. This team, for the most part, this season, has not shot the ball well from three, and they haven't defended the perimeter well at all. First and foremost, this is a three-point shooting league. That's what the league is. The league is all about three-point shooting. You make your threes, you're good. You don't make your threes, you're not good. Now, are there some exceptions from game to game? Of course. But by and large, that's what this sport has come down to, or this league. It's about three-point shooting. That has been a sore point, both making and guarding the entire season. Number two, the Kings for years have not had a true point guard. And you see what happens when you don't have a true point guard. Now, people say, well, Keon Ellis, but I can't include Keon Ellis in this conversation because Keon, for all intents and purposes, just came onto the scene last year and has been primarily a bench player and not a starter. And I'm not really sure what I would classify him as a true position. I just know this. When he's on the floor, the Kings seem to play better. That's what I know. Okay? Number three. This team did not fit when De'Aaron Fox was the point guard playing with whether it was Kevin Huerter or Malik Monk and DeRozan and Sabonis and Murray. We sat on the postgame show here and talked about, DeRozan doesn't seem to fit. The Kings aren't running. They're not getting fast break points. There's too much iso ball. There's not enough ball movement, blah, blah, blah. We said, boy, we look at these players. They're really good, but they don't fit. Now you make a trade, and the team's pieces still don't fit. Now, I know you don't have Sabonis, and you can't just say, well, that doesn't matter. It does matter. But even with Sabonis, these pieces of this team don't fit. They don't. And that's on Monty McNair. He's the one that makes the moves. Yeah, he's done some good things. He deserves a pat on the back for that. But he's also made a huge mistake with a lack of a point guard. And these pieces, quite frankly, do not fit. So what do you have? You have a 35-35 team with 12 games left and a brutal schedule. And why would anyone think, healthy or not, that if the Kings were to make the play-in, they could win 2 games? Really? This team could win 2 games? Come on. Come on now. Going to be another disappointing season, and we're probably looking at a lot of change in the offseason. And that's my rant for tonight.
You know that there's problems if you're keeping Jerry Reynolds up past 10:15, 10:20, sending text messages, my friend. We've got audio from Doug Christie, though. We'll let him give his opening statement and then respond to the adjustments after the half. We'll run some stats for you. In the meantime, here's Doug Christie.
Tell what you have for us, like for whatever reason in the third quarter, we just, I talked to them about just keep it simple. Like it's something is working. You want to just continue to keep it simple, and the ball stuck a little bit, and all of a sudden, they start making shots in the fourth. They were 6 for 9 from 3. We were 2 for 7. Couldn't make shots, but to beat teams like this that are really, really good, there has to be a simplicity in your approach and a consistency in your effort and how you play the game. And you don't get bored doing it over and over and over again. And we just let up off the gas. And when you do that against a really good team like that, all of a sudden they go on a run in 37-28 in the third quarter.
Doug, building off that, Keon had a really, really solid first half, and then I think just 3 shot attempts in the second half. Asked Keegan about the halftime adjustments, and he said it's not the opposing adjustments, it's more of us. Do you see the same thing, just like what you talked about?
Yeah, it really is. Like I constantly, like, you give teams credit, obviously, that they make adjustments and they come out and they do certain things, but our ability to be consistent in our approach when we find something that is working or knowing coverages and different things, we just gotta continue to do it. And sometimes it gets difficult, and sometimes you give them credit as well. Tonight, I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, Giannis is an incredible player, so he's going to get calls, he's going to get downhill, he's going to do all of those things. But we had the game and have the ability to close it, and we have to do that.
Doug, you've talked a little bit about kind of the stagnant nature of the offense at times during ends of games and how it's coming from a good place and things like that. I think the players have kind of echoed the same sentiments. You obviously have the personnel to play that type of style at the end of games, but is that what you're wanting to see late, or why do you think that it's getting stagnant if that's not what you're wanting?
I think many times, sometimes the defense blows the play up, and as the shot clock is going down, then you take your time. I think that we have to explore early in the shot clock, and sometimes we're not playing as fast as we need to, and then that allows them to press up. All of a sudden it gets later in the shot clock, and now you become that without even knowing why it happened. We found a rhythm with the step up and collapse the defense, kick it out. We were getting whatever we wanted, and then we had a couple possessions where, for whatever reason, I have to go back and look at it, and whether they pressed up, whatever the case was, all of a sudden we found ourselves in the ability to, you got to either go hard to collapse the defense and spray the ball, and when that happens, you just got to be ready to shoot it. And I will say, like, tonight we got some pretty good looks, and we just didn't knock them down at the same time. So it's easy to look at, stagnant, but I mean, we were 9 for 38 and 2 for 7 to close. So we make some of those that we normally do make, and it's a different ball game. So it's not all of what you're saying, because I'll put that ball in those guys' hands and trust them any night of the week, because most times they come through. Tonight you missed some shots. That's it. I would be more about making sure that we're locked in on defense, coming up with those extra balls, the one that bounced around and they hit the three. Like, those are the things that we want to do, those extra effort plays.
So that's Doug Christie. Grant, look at the chart above us. That tracks the game. That is how much Sacramento dominated this game. And that's how much Milwaukee won this game. Look at that.
Wow.
That takes into account every statistical category.
Wow. Unfreaking believable. Wow. Unbelievable. Doug said they let their foot off the gas. That's what I heard Malik Monk say in the locker room after the Bulls game, and said we wouldn't do that again. Of course, Malik didn't play, but yeah, I'm just, it's becoming the same thing over and over and over again. Hey, Sunrise Landing, the newest residential community in Colusa. You go to ColusaSunrise.com. You get all the information you need on beautiful Sunrise Landing. Remember, no Mellorews, no homeowners, adjacent to the Colusa Golf and Country Club, and good access to the major roads like I-5. Go to ColusaSunrise.com. That's ColusaSunrise.com, and get all the information you need on beautiful Sunrise Landing. And if you want to feel better about this loss, go to Bennett's for brunch. All right. Go make your reservation for brunch tomorrow. Yes. Whether it's at the West Side Grill in Rockland or Sacramento or Roseville, Bennett's is awesome. Prime seafood and steaks, Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Make your reservation. And don't forget about Mother's Day. It's not that far away. Make your Mother's Day's reservation. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com. I don't have much more to add on this show. It's very, very frustrating to see what's happened in the second half of the last two games. What I do know is the Kings are 500 at 35-35, and they have the Boston Celtics, the Thunder the next night, and then the pesky Portland Trailblazers, who are not out of it, coming in before they hit a lengthy road trip. And if you think things are sour now, this thing could totally go down the toilet in the next week if you're not careful.
Yep. Very well said, partner. I do have one thing to add. If you are going to be too hungover to make it to Bennett's for brunch tomorrow, prime rib tomorrow night, $33. Get there. That'll take care of the hangover, my friends.
Thank you, everyone. We are done for this show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your college basketball games. You can do that. And we'll talk to you for the Kings and the C's. Thanks again, everyone. Appreciate your support. Bye-bye now.